The flashing of red and blue lights shattered the calm of our quiet suburban afternoon, slicing through the stillness like a siren call. I was glued to the live feed from our home security system as two police officers marched through the gates of our secure community. Their pace was brisk, their expressions all business. At my doorstep stood Karen Whitfield, our HOA president, frantically waving a key in the air like some powerless wand. Her face was flushed with anger as she yelled at our locked front door, completely unaware that my 12-year-old son, Leo, was safe inside and recording the entire scene on his phone. What Karen didn't know, however, was that she was about to be the one answering uncomfortable questions from the police, not me. This is the story of how an entitled HOA president tried to flex power she didn't have and ended up getting more than she bargained for. My name is Marcus Chen, a single dad and full-time software engineer. About 3 months ago, my son and I moved into Willowbrook Estates, a gated community that looked like suburban perfection. Clean sidewalks, neatly trimmed hedges, top-rated schools, and allegedly reasonable HOA rules. What I didn't factor in was Karen Whitfield, a woman who treated her HOA title like she'd been crowned queen of a tiny kingdom. From the beginning, Karen made it clear she wasn't a fan of what she called unsupervised minors. The first time she saw Leo walking home from the school bus by himself, she stopped me in the driveway. With a smile dripping with judgment, she suggested, "I consider after-school care," saying single parents often struggle to provide proper supervision. I replied politely but firmly that Leo was 12, capable of being home alone for a couple of hours, and I worked remotely, monitoring him through our security system. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Karen decided no, wasn't a word that applied to her. Suddenly, she began citing non-existent rules, like a clause that supposedly banned kids under 16 from being home unsupervised. When I asked for this policy in writing, she said the HOA bylaws were being updated, and I'd receive a copy soon. Spoiler alert, that copy never came. In the weeks that followed, Karen's behavior escalated. She'd drive her silver SUV slowly through the neighborhood each afternoon, timing it with the school bus schedule. She'd sometimes park across from our house and sit there, watching Leo like a hawk. My son grew increasingly uneasy. "Why is that angry lady always staring at me?" he asked once. Everything came to a head one October Tuesday. I was in the middle of a critical video meeting with clients in Japan when my phone buzzed with alerts from our smart home system. Someone was tampering with the front door lock. Then came the audio feed, Karen's shrill voice yelling for Leo to open up. She kept insisting she had a master key and was performing a welfare check. My stomach dropped, but Leo, that kid, stayed cool under pressure. Just like we'd practiced, he triggered our home security lockdown and activated full camera recording. Then he called me, voice steady. "Dad, that Karen lady is trying to get inside. She says it's an emergency check, but the key won't work. You did the right thing." I told him, "Stay calm, I've got this." I used the speaker system to tell Karen she was trespassing and needed to leave immediately. Instead of backing off, she doubled down. I watched in disbelief as she pulled out her phone and called 911, claiming there was an abandoned, possibly injured child inside the home. She told the dispatcher she was the HOA president, performing an official emergency welfare check, and accused me of negligence. I immediately called 911 myself, explaining the truth that my son was safely inside and someone was attempting to enter our home without authorization. The dispatcher assured me officers were en route. I ended my client call and rushed home. When I got there, 2 patrol cars were parked out front. Officers Martinez and Thompson were speaking with Karen, who was mid-rant about HOA responsibilities and community safety. Leo, per our plan, was calmly speaking to them through our video doorbell, letting them know he was fine, doing homework, and had full contact with me. As I pulled into the driveway, Karen pointed at me dramatically like she was in a courtroom drama. "That's him, the neglectful father," she exclaimed, but Officer Martinez already looked like he wasn't buying her act. He asked to hear my version. I calmly unlocked my front door with my actual key and invited the officers inside. Leo was at the kitchen table, his math book open, completely composed. They checked on him, made sure he had food, water, a phone, all the basics. Then I played the security footage on our living room TV, showing Karen's attempt to force entry using a duplicated key while claiming HOA power. The officers watched the timeline. She'd spent 10 full minutes trying to unlock our door before dialing 911. Then came the kicker. Officer Thompson asked Karen where she got the key. That's when her story started crumbling. She mumbled something about having one made during a routine maintenance visit for emergencies. Both officers raised their eyebrows. She had just admitted to making an unauthorized copy of my house key. I pulled out the binder. I'd been keeping screenshots of her surveillance, dates, notes, and even a statement from our neighbor, Mrs. Rodriguez, who provided her own video footage of Karen parked outside our house for 20 minutes watching Leo. Officer Martinez turned to Karen and asked, "Did you knowingly provide a false report to 911, knowing the child inside was not in danger?" Karen stammered. "I was just trying to, I thought, as HOA president, I have a duty. No HOA policy overrides state law." He cut in. "And you can't falsely report emergencies because you disagree with parenting choices." Neighbors began to gather. Some pretended to water plants or walk dogs, others made no pretense and just stood there recording. Karen noticed. Her face turned ghost white. The officers then asked to see the HOA bylaws giving her entry rights. She claimed they were at her house. That's when Officer Thompson said the words that made my entire month. "Ma'am, you're being cited for attempted unlawful entry and false emergency reporting." Karen froze. She tried to protest, invoking her position, but they didn't flinch. I told them I would be pursuing charges and my attorney would be following up. Mentioning a lawyer wiped whatever color was left in her face. At the next HOA meeting, the turnout was massive. Word had spread fast. My lawyer, Jacob Morrison, who specializes in HOA litigation, came with me. He laid out our case: unlawful key duplication, harassment, false 911 reporting, and the biggest question: how many other homes did Karen have unauthorized keys for? The board turned on her fast. Tom Bradley, the treasurer, revealed Karen had tried to sneak in a rule about mandatory welfare checks without approval. Sarah Kim, the secretary, produced official minutes proving the board had rejected the idea months ago. The no-confidence vote, unanimous. Even Karen's usual allies abandoned her. As the result was announced, Karen stood abruptly and shouted something about us regretting this before storming out. The room was dead silent except for the echo of her heels on the tile. Her fall from power was swift. She was fined $50,000 for the false police report. The unlawful entry led to misdemeanor charges. Her real estate license, which she loved to mention, was suspended during investigation. Our civil suit was successful. The court awarded $15,000 for emotional distress and legal fees. She was barred from holding any HOA office again and slapped with a 100-foot restraining order. The final blow came in court. As the judge read the verdict, Karen stood motionless, tears streaking down her makeup, her perfect image unraveling in public view. The woman who once ruled our community with intimidation and fake authority had finally been held accountable, all because she tried to use a phony master key. And she'll never forget the day it all went wrong.